Okay, sorry, that was just my silly attempt at doing the Terminator 2 sound effect
I like it.
from
No,
the
it's
movie.
awesome.
That doesn't even matter right now. But anyway, this is the Infinite Ambition podcast. Recognize your limitless worth, damn it. Yo, today this episode is sponsored by nobody, right yet. Yeah, we are. Right now I'm still brand new. Baby steps. We got to start somewhere, but we're on the way up. Very fortunate and proud to be doing interviews with people that I know and respect and heard of and want to learn more about. So it's good to be on the ground level, getting these talks in now, and we can talk about it later again when we get bigger, when we grow. But for now, today I'm excited to be joined by a young lady who is definitely making her mark in the Mile High State. When she reached out to me, man, to do my show, I immediately said yes. She is one of a few people that I know personally that are heavily involved in the real estate game. Seriously, doing her thing in the digital media producing space. She has an interesting journey from New York. Sorry, I couldn't help it. I had to do that. From New York to Colorado. And she can also throw down on the culinary side with some catering events up under her belt. And we're going to get deeper into that. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Miss Dahlia Davis, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, wow. Khari, thank you so much for that incredible introduction. I'm blushing over here. I'm totally honored, and I think so highly of you as well. So thank you so much for having me on today.
Oh, thank you. Salute. Thank you. Man,
Of
yeah,
course.
it's a pleasure having you today. I was going through some of your information and some of your background, and we met a few years ago. But we're
Mm-hmm.
at my old workplace, so we're gonna get into that a little bit later in the story. But how's your day been going? How's your weekend? I know it's the beginning of the week, sort of. It's Tuesday. How you
Yeah,
feeling?
it's been great. I had definitely a little bit of a manic Monday, but after a good night's rest and some contemplation and the fact that it's always a new day, I'm back at it again and ready to take on the world.
Absolutely, man. We gotta love that positive attitude and that positive energy
Thank you.
is much needed in the world, much needed everywhere. Um,
It really is.
yeah, more people with an outlook like that, I think, can help and resolve a lot of issues and a lot of things that could be resolved with
Absolutely. And it is definitely an interesting time in the world, and inspiration can sometimes be few and far between, and you have to sometimes go out of your way to find good news, positive information. And I think that's really important in keeping our ambition and our flame, ignited, so to speak.
absolutely. I'm gonna pause you real quick for 1 second. Okay. Um, yeah, so we're gonna get into some of your background, some of your history, and get let people get to know who you are and what you're all about, and what you're doing. Those who may not
Okay.
know, and those who do know, get a little refresher and learn more about you because you're a very interesting person. You have a lot going on, and have done some amazing things out here.
Thank
So
you.
let's take it back, man. Let's take it all the way back to the Big Apple, man. Were you born and raised in New York?
Yeah, let's go back.
Okay,
So, New York is my hometown. I was born in Brooklyn, and I've spent
Brooklyn,
quite a bit of time there. Yeah, Brooklyn, Bay
boogie
Ridge in the house.
boogie down. Okay,
Yeah. And I spent a lot of time there with family. Most of my family is still on the East Coast, New York, New Jersey. But I was raised in the beautiful Sunshine State of Florida.
wow, love Florida.
Yeah. And so I moved around quite a bit as well. It wasn't ever my choice to move to Florida. I think it's an amazing state. But when I, was old enough to be able to do so, make my own decisions, and, actually have the ability to relocate, I always felt a huge connection to Colorado that I couldn't really explain. And after taking a couple of road trips, I determined that Durango was going to be the place. Just driving through,
Mm-hmm.
spent less than 24 hours in Durango, and I decided that I wanted to move there. I didn't know one person,
Yeah.
and I went back to Florida and started making preparations to, you know, finalize my life there and make a fresh start in the beautiful state of Colorado.
Wow. What was it about before that first initial trip out to Colorado? What was it about Colorado that made you want to come visit? What was the appeal?
Well, I think, of course, the mountains and just the nature. And I remember years ago, I saw a photo of aspen trees, and I had never seen an aspen tree in my life. And I just felt like I knew that feeling of how it felt to be in an aspen forest. And I'm sure it's one of the most magical places.
It is. You see them
in. It is, right?
Yeah, because you see them in so many paintings and pictures and movies and stuff. You're like, wow, it's great to see that in person.
Exactly. I mean, the trees, they're just so captivating, and there's something about them that really drew me. And when I came here and it was summertime, they were in full, bloom, or not bloom, but foliage with their green and the white. And the rustling in the wind. It was just, there was a magic here that I couldn't explain, that it was drawing me here.
It's pretty majestic. It is.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know if, many people may or may not know this, but aspen trees are one of the largest and oldest living organisms on the planet.
Yep, that's one of the first things I learned about the scenery and landscaping out here. Somebody told me that, and I was blown away. Then they explained it to me, and I was captivated by it. Like, wow, that's pretty amazing. How they're all connected on the ground.
It is amazing. They're all connected through their root system. And I don't know if you've ever been to the Gunnison area.
Oh, yeah. It's been plenty of time. That's where I met my wife.
Really? Oh, that's right. You're from Crested Butte.
Yeah, not originally, but yeah. That's where I was.
I mean, you're originally from Colorado. You were living there first.
Well, I was originally from Ohio, but when I moved to Colorado, that's where I was living, in Crested Butte, before Durango. Yeah.
That is so cool. And I love that area. That forest there over by, I believe it's, what's the pass over there, Khari?
Which one? There's a few.
Not Kennebec Pass, but
Kebler?
Kebler, yes, thank you. And it's just, that forest there is one of the most spectacular aspen forests I've ever seen.
I've been camping in Kebler Pass a couple times, like deep off the trail, and it is nice. Like, yeah, I can talk about that forever. It's beautiful.
Right? Especially, and even in the fall, it's just a spot that cannot be missed if you ever have the opportunity to go. Mm-hmm.
There's this window of a few weeks out of the fall where, like, you can see all the different colors at once, and you got to catch it. And that's a big, very popular time for tourists. A lot of tourists come out there and they take pictures and videos and camp and do whatever.
Yeah.
And even for just residents and locals, it's always going to be a big deal because it's just that beautiful. And
it really is. It really is. I'm going on my 7th year here, and I'll tell you, the scenery, it doesn't get old. The seasons and the excitement of just the change and feeling how you become part of the seasons. That was something I was really missing in Florida.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I was before I moved out to Colorado, I lived in Hawaii for 15 years, and it was summertime year round, which I loved. I have no complaints about that at all.
Yeah, but exactly. That's cool.
But there was still a small part of me that missed the different seasons changing. So when I got invited to the job I got offered in Crested Butte, I was excited about that. And plus, I've always wanted to learn how to ski, so made me even extra excited to come out here, and drew me towards living in the mountain town, which I didn't know anything about before I moved out. And I told that story a million times in my previous podcast. But I feel it.
That's so incredibly brave. And I think that many people, we can get complacent as human beings, staying in our comfort level.
True.
And
very true.
To be able to make that leap and just start somewhere new, or take the risk to even make the effort to experience life in a new place. It really takes a lot of bravery and sacrifice.
This is very true. It really does. And also, like, a lot of trust in yourself, and trust in the vision that you was given, or vision that you had, to go ahead, take a leap of faith and do that.
Right.
And when it works out for you, you have no choice but to be thankful and just go full throttle at whatever it is you're pursuing.
Very true. Very true.
So your pursuit, what led you to real estate, or was there anything else that was a stepping stone before that? Because you seem pretty heavily involved in that field.
Oh, yes. Well, Come from a family that was very involved with real estate, more on the investment side,
Okay.
Versus the selling side. But I come from an immigrant family. My family came to New York in the 60s from the Middle East. I'm a first-generation American.
Okay.
And I'm very proud of that.
I'm drop a celebratory bomb on that right now. Celebration.
Thank you. And I really just have so much gratitude to my family because I've been, given the opportunity to work and to make a success story out of my life. And my grandfather, really, we owe a lot to him as our family.
Okay.
He had a third grade education. He was self-taught in terms of reading and writing English.
Wow.
And
Salute
I don't know the
So,
details of his story, and I regret not having deeper talks with him about how he was able to, make a success out of his life and pass that down to my parents and aunts and uncles and then, down to me and our generation.
Yeah.
And that was really where I began in real estate because it was what I knew. And I, witnessed what the investment side of real estate can do for your life and your family. And I still believe, to this day. And of course, there's a lot of different ways to invest these days, whether it's stock market or, Bitcoin. I think real estate is still and will be, the most solid investment that you can make in your life.
Right. And I feel like a big part of what we do, it's no matter what it is we're doing, I think a big part of what we're doing, if we're passionate about it and if we're proud of it, it's a big part is making our elders proud, making our elder generations proud of us.
Exactly.
Whether they're here with us in the physical form or not, just showing that
I love
the second generation, next generation after them is still doing something productive and moving forward, not only the family name, but the family legacy and their bloodline and doing something great and carrying it forward. So, yeah.
Exactly. And, that's another thing with our current society is that we have very little regard for the elders. And I think, some cultures more than other have like the rite of passages, and they believe in that their elders are, ancestors are walking with them and that they're meant to carry on the legacy. And that's something that's very strong within my heart and spirit and motivates me to succeed because, they laid the groundwork for us. And whether it's our personal family history or just collectively, the people that came before us, have given us the opportunity to make something with our lives. And that's not something to take for granted.
Definitely. Yeah, man. You are one of a few people that I know personally who are heavy in the real estate game, whether they're brokers or agents or they partially own a company. I know somebody in Crested Butte. I know somebody out here. It's a friend of the family. And it's, I know a whole lot about it, but just listening to them talk about it is captivating to me, But so are you like still the owner and designer of Design Durango, creating spaces for beautiful living? Wow, that's like a mouthful, that sentence right there. So I'll say this right. Okay,
is it my catchphrase for my design work? I don't do as much of that as I have in the last few years, but it's really more related to my personal listings. I occasionally will be hired to help, whether it's a renovation or designing a house or a space. Design, I think, is something that is a really interesting facet to how we feel. And there's a lot of, more research coming out about that, or for people who are really interested in design, that, when you walk into a space and you either feel comfortable or you don't. And I think that there are a lot of things that can contribute to our comfort level. And
definitely,
that's,
like one of the things. Sorry to interrupt, but one of the things that my wife was in school for originally was interior design, decorating. I can't remember the exact name of the course, but she eventually changed majors and got a couple degrees in other things, human physiology and whatnot. But she has done an immaculate job with the decoration and design and things in our home and other things. And I feel like that is very important whether it be like if you're creating some kind of feng shui in your space, or you want to create a certain type of energy and vibe, whether it be room to room or inside or outside, that plays a huge part. And
Absolutely.
if you have that knowledge, like you're speaking about a few minutes ago, with whether it be selling or promoting homes or hotels and things of that nature,
Right.
that plays a big part in that. Is there a difference? Well, let me ask this: with Engel Volkers and Dahlia Davis Luxury Real Estate, is one a subsidiary of another company? Are they both the same, or what's
So
the
Engel Volkers
division?
is a global company
Okay,
and real
okay.
estate brand. We are in the offices are individually owned. My broker out in Telluride, Lee Rufa, is the owner of our shop, and we are on 5 continents and 31 countries with
Wow.
over 16,000 advisors.
Wow.
So, yeah, we have really grown, and we have over 1,000 locations as well as a yachting division.
That's amazing right there.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful brand. I reached out to Lee a few years ago, right around when COVID hit. I found myself losing my job. I was currently at the time working as an assistant for a local team that was at an independent firm. And basically I had sent out my resume, and I moved out here not having a job, and really just kind of thought, well, I'm going to start over. And I honestly needed a break from real estate at that time. I had a really meteoric rise in Florida, in Vero Beach.
Okay.
I was licensed at 23, and I sold my first $1 million listing by the age of 25.
Woo! That is amazing. Wow, by age of 25? Man, I don't even want to talk about what I was doing at 25. Nothing close to that kind of good. Damn, okay.
I've definitely made mistakes, and failure is no doubt a part of success. I'm a big fan of words of wisdom from the past and present teachers. And
yes,
I
absolutely.
love the quote by Churchill about failure is moving, success is moving from failure to failure with no loss of optimism.
Oh, that's deep. Okay.
Yeah, right. And that can be hard. And I'm sure you know that too as an entrepreneur.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. I've had more losses than wins, and
Totally,
it makes you stronger and wiser.
I felt a lot of opposition. Being a young woman, I think, James Brown said it best in his song, "It's a man's world." And although we have made quite a bit of strides
there would be nothing without a woman.
I still feel that being a strong woman, and then throw on top of that being a young, strong woman,
right,
it can definitely ruffle some feathers, and you can be faced with a lot of opposition.
And I think a lot of that opposition comes from those who aren't ready to handle the power that comes with that.
Oh yeah, and it can be defeating, because I know that, for me at least, being accepted, liked, and celebrated is very important to me, especially among my peers. And when I was at an office, I felt that I had ruffled some feathers. I wasn't really wanted there. I had went from a RE/MAX firm to going to a firm that only listed properties in excess of $1 million within my first year. And basically the people that were there had been veterans of the industry and were very well-known names in town that worked with a lot of heavy hitters, celebrities. And I had, had a chance encounter with the owner of that firm.
Yeah.
And he brought me on, and it felt like I was definitely not wanted there. So long story short, I had moved to another firm after that, tried to continue with my passion and motivation in Vero, which is a beautiful place to live. Actually just had some clients from Durango move there, ironically.
Where is Vero?
Vero Beach is on the east coast of Florida.
Okay.
And it's just south of Melbourne.
All right.
A couple hours north of Miami. And they've actually just opened their Engel Volkers location within the last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been anywhere north of Miami before. I've been to a few other places like Cocoa Beach, Clearwater, Port Richey, a couple others.
I love Florida. It's definitely a beautiful
Tampa.
state, and it's a great place to live. I felt at the time, wanting to leave, not to mention that, what I went through with work and just needing a change.
Yeah.
I really felt like I had to get out of Florida because we were being slammed. I can't tell you how many hurricanes I've been through. Prior to that, I was in Tampa. And at one time, we must have been without power for about 3 weeks.
Wow. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I see. I've visited Florida a bunch of times. I've spent time there quite a few times doing various things, and I got some friends that lives out there and some that's from there. And when I left Hawaii, that was one of my options for places to live because I've always wanted to live somewhere where I was comfortable than I've been before. But one of the things that turned me off from not ultimately accepting going there was the hurricanes. Like I didn't want to live somewhere where natural disasters were prominent. Like we had to deal with. I mean, there was some we call it tsunamis and hurricane warnings and stuff like that in Hawaii. Sure. But like I didn't want to go anywhere. It was like stay anywhere permanently that was like coastal or anything like anything in Tornado Alley or anything like that.
Exactly.
So I think Colorado is a good fix. The only thing we got to worry about here is like blizzard and avalanche.
Sorry, I think we're breaking up for a minute.
Oh, no, I hear you.
There's a lot more people and, our current times, and I don't know if you've heard the term yet, climate refugees.
Yep, I heard of that.
And, they are, it's a thing now, and this is something that really did not exist in the last, decade or two.
Wow.
But it's a very real factor in that people are choosing locations based on climate, disasters, and relocating because they've either been through things or they're afraid to go through things that they've seen happen in communities close to them. So you've heard the phrase "head for the hills."
Yeah,
that's basically what I did. I mean, when I packed up and left my home in Florida, it was a Category 4 hurricane heading our way.
Ooh.
All the tolls were open. I could barely even find a U-Haul truck because people had rented them and were packing up stuff and going.
Yep.
And with a hurricane at my back, I headed to Colorado and didn't look back.
Yep. And look now, you've done all this, and we're going to get into some of the more things that you've done since you've been out here. Do you ultimately feel like it was a great decision on your end? Like there's any regrets or anything like you wish you could have finalized before leaving?
No regrets whatsoever. It was the best decision I've ever made in my life. And although there's been times when it's been very hard, especially with the lack of, support system with friends and family, I've always, had a lot of independence and resilience because I am an only child. So
me too.
So being, alone and doing things alone has kind of been a reoccurring theme in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But when I moved here, I kind of was over real estate at that time.
Right.
I had, felt what it was like to be successful. And, by no means am I saying, oh, I totally made it. But I did feel like, okay, I did that. What else can I do?
Yeah.
I think in today's world, like we're only supposed to be one thing. And in a lot of ways, it's hard to do multiple things and do them all well.
It is, especially when especially if like you're spreading yourself very thin. But at the same time, it's like we don't want to put all our eggs in the one basket because if that doesn't work for us or if it becomes a detriment to us, then we're just flat out on our ass. Whether it be involve yourself in everything that you're good at and you're passionate about. It's more than likely not everything's going to work, but at least one of those things is going to work. And my whole philosophy is like what I've been trying to do is at least if one of those things takes off and starts to get you to where you need to be, then you can focus on that and use the other things as a backup in case something happens where it doesn't work. But always pursue what you're good at because you never know what's going to stick, what's going to click. Because I feel like we're not 100% controlling our destiny. Maybe there's something else, whether you call it energy, whether you call it universe, whether you call it something a Lord you believe in, whatever it is. There's something else that has a higher power over us than just us. So you gotta sometimes throw caution to the wind, but also keep 10 toes to the concrete.
I'm a big believer in that as well, Khari, and I do think there's a benevolent force that is guiding us and in ways that sometimes we can't really explain. Mm-hmm. And I also think the more that we're tapped into ourselves as energy beings, the more that we can, sometimes hear that guidance or feel that guidance. I'm a big believer in synchronicities, and that the universe, even communicates with us, whether it be through media or a song or numbers or people who may, say something that, may spark something in you.
Used to hear a lot of people call it signs. I hear signs, see signs, and
and I think that that's incredible. It's a big, big motivator for me every day.
For sure, man. That's one of the main things that keeps me going all the time too. Excuse me. When I first got to move to Durango, I still wanted to keep working on music, but I didn't really pursue it anymore as far as like being an artist at the age I was at and seeing how many years I've been doing it and the landscape of it. But I did want to keep pursuing it as a producer, production, because that's something that you can do at any age and branch out so many more ways than just as a rapper, but you can branch out producing as far as like just doing any type of genre. That's always been fun for me, but my bread and butter was always paid the bills and been another immediate love of mine, equal with the music, has been cooking, being a chef, and
which you're amazing at.
Thank you.
I'm always seeing your posts and just being like, oh man, I wish you guys were my neighbors over there. You're eating some good stuff.
Oh, thank you. It's definitely fun, man. It's something fun that's never going to get stale and old, and I always try to keep progressing, moving up in my career, which I did in a way when I was working at Seasons. And those listening that may not be familiar with what or where that is, that's not here in Durango or in Colorado. It's one of the main restaurants on Main Street, big American comfort bistro style restaurants. I was the executive chef after being a line cook and sous chef there for a while. I became the executive chef, and during that time is when I actually met Dahlia. She came in with her crew, and I believe was that the Move the Mountain series that y'all was doing?
That is my Move to the Mountain series.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That was fun.
A couple years ago, I wanted to have a platform that would focus on showing the area, local businesses that I personally believe in and value as members of the community, as well as sharing listings that I am working on with the public.
Okay, I've seen some of those videos on the on your Instagram page, the Durango Lux.
Durango Luxury Real Estate. Yes,
okay, yeah.
Durango Lux RE. I also share them on my YouTube page, and it's a platform I'm still, I think, on a lot of platforms, as you probably know yourself, to build followers requires, some effort.
A lot of effort. a lot of digital groundwork.
Follow people and then unfollow because then you're following too many. And I personally don't really care about trying to make that grow unless it's going to be organically. I don't, I'm not super concerned about how many followers I have or how many likes I get. I really just am more concerned about putting out content that is relevant, that is well made, and that is, valuable to others.
Right, and with doing that is what's going to draw the traffic, because when you draw traffic and you get the eyes on your content, that's what's going to, if it building it to create some kind of, I wouldn't say income, but some kind of digital currency, which will work out for you in the long run, whether it be promotion, whether it be gigs, or just drawing business to whatever it is you're trying to promote, then that's when the likes and the comments and follows and everything becomes useful. Because it's a numbers game when it comes to online stuff. We all know that, but it only matters when that's draws, whether it be if you're trying to make revenue or if you're trying to get the attention and awareness to whatever it is you're trying to get people aware to. I'm going to put the links in the description, all your links to your sites and everything. So,
thank you.
That way,
I appreciate that very much.
So we can plug it verbally, but people may not be able to spell it just off of us saying it. So yeah, it's going to be there.
Thank you. Well, there's a lot of platforms to be on in today's world, and it can be exhausting.
Yeah.
We're in a very overstimulated society, and who knows, compared to before we had iPhones and all of these different social media websites, how many images we're seeing a day and people's faces and
Yeah,
self-promotion and advertising. And for me, it's just exhausting.
it is.
I feel like
It can
we're
be
in the
very
age
distracting
of
too.
self-promotion, and people can get really tired of that. So how to post and still be, you know, doing it in a way that is not like a hard sell, but more of like a soft sell, has been my goal in my productions,
Okay.
as I did with the Seasons video. And we've been to the Durango Hot Springs.
Yep.
We've been to some really cool spots already, and have some more in the works.
I noticed that, man. Those are some cool videos. The production was really well. That's something that I'm into a lot too, like video production and producing digital media content. Like all of my music videos, I've self-edited and produced and directed myself. And even aside from
Wow, I
that,
didn't
just
know that. That's awesome.
yeah, it's fun, man. Even aside from that, like the food
Yeah,
posts,
it is. It is actually really fun, and I think part of that fun though is having a support system
absolutely.
that, and finding support in our quest, at least for me, is sometimes really challenging. And I've actually been through a couple of videographers in the years I've been doing it, because I'm very involved with my productions, and I
Yeah.
think the average real estate broker just kind of sends someone out to their listing. They're not there. They don't really, have a vision, or are really, trying to like be involved with that production
Right.
aspect. And for me, I faced some difficulty finding someone who would understand that I am going to be very involved in the whole production aspect, from the way we shoot the scenes,
Yeah.
to the script, which I write all of the scripts,
Okay.
to the sequence, to how long they last. And it was a little difficult and disappointing that I've had to go through a couple, because the ones that I was working with at that time, they weren't really a fan of me being involved. And
Well, you're very
although
hands-on,
I'm
and as a
obviously paying the bill,
yeah.
they really resented the fact that I would say, hey, cut this scene, or turn the music down here, and
Well, you're very
that.
hands-on. As a producer and editor, that's your job. And those who
It
may not
is. It
understand
is.
that, then it's time for them to move on to something a little bit simpler. Because, like, when you're wearing those different hats, you have to have your hands involved in those different aspects of the production.
Absolutely. And I'm very much, I struggle with perfectionism, which is a double-edged sword, because in one way it really helps me to, be great at marketing and presenting my listings. But at the same time, it can make me a little bit over the top with like how I'm seen, how I come off,
Yeah.
or not releasing something unless it's,
This is
absolutely
right.
the best it can be.
Exactly. I noticed. I was looking at some of the videos that you've posted for the Move the Mountain series, ones on your Facebook and the ones on your Instagram, and they all, even though I don't know if you've been through different crews with all those, but they all have a certain continuity as far as like the quality in them. I feel like they're watching like 30 to 90-second movies. Like they're
Thank
they're very
you.
like
Thank
kind
you.
of like dramatic
And I have
commercialist,
kept
but
that
not overly
continuity. Just
hyped. Is like it's pretty smooth. And
Thank
like I'm
you.
always trying to upgrade my equipment. There's a couple of drones I'm looking at right now. I want to learn how to use for different things I love doing. It's just fun working with that stuff. I mean, yeah, the editing part could be a headache and difficult, but at the same time, it's fun when you're finishing up and putting that final product together. But I just love filming stuff, whether it be me, other people. I film things for other people all the time, and that's another big passion of mine. Like one of those things where I feel like I wish I went to school for this, but no, at the
Right.
same time, because I'm so far deep into my culinary career, I don't want to step away from that, and there's time
Yeah.
and the money involved, blah blah blah, everything else. But for the moment, as a hobby, and every now and then it's good to make a little bit of change on the side doing it. But if you have
Yeah,
a love for it,
absolutely.
definitely have a love for it. Like this podcasting thing. Like right now, I've always been a huge fan of podcasts for years, and I love talking to people. I love like just interacting, maybe interview type stuff. I wanted to see if I can give it a try, see if I can do it, and that's what I'm doing now at the ground level. If it becomes big, great. If not, great too. I still love to do it just as a hobby, and my main thing is to help other people like you get their voice and their stories out there to help
Thank
motivate
you.
others.
Well,
Because
it's an honor,
yeah.
and I've been watching your work, and from when we met at Seasons a couple years ago, your talent, was evident. Like beyond the kitchen, you have a real energy about you that is very inspirational, and I am really appreciate when people are like that, because it can be hard to keep your inspiration going, let alone inspire others.
Thank you. I feel like I'm just a spoke on the wheel of a bigger machine that's playing my
Exactly.
part. So anything I can do to contribute to anything that's going to inspire others the way that I was inspired from people before me in
I love
any
it.
field, because when I first started this podcast, it was about talking to people that I knew and friends of mine about sharing stories. Now I want to branch it out to people I don't know and people I just met. And if anything is interesting that can latch on, that can catch on to everybody else, then why not? Let's do it. I know you have multiple things under your belt, things that you want to express, get out. We spoke in pre-production about you have, I don't know if it's a hidden talent, but it's hidden to me. On the mic as a vocalist, singer. You want to tell us what that's all about?
Yes, I've been told that I love to sing. I really have never done anything professionally. I grew up with my mom always singing and very musical.
Okay.
And I think that I just kind of caught that from her. I did a on-stage role in community theater, actually in Vero Beach. I played Gypsy Rose Lee. And I don't know if you're familiar with that story, but it's one of the most beloved Broadway shows. It's a story about a real woman that lived here in America and was known as the burlesque queen of America.
Oh, okay. At first I thought you meant Gypsy Rose, like the movie that the show, the act was based upon.
Yeah, that's it.
It is?
Gypsy Rose. She was played by Natalie Wood.
Oh, okay.
And it's a very inspirational, beautiful story. It's about a mother-daughter and the trials and tribulations they went through in order to help her become what she was and what she made of herself out of nothing. And I think that story is something that people really love. It's that American dream and rags to riches and facing opposition and doing something innovative and controversial in a time when it wasn't accepted.
Are we talking about
Are
we talking about the same Gypsy Rose? Is the one like the girl?
One and only.
She was like the mother made her think she was disabled, but she wasn't. Kind of like
Gypsy Rose and Mama Rose. There's a lot of really wild stories about Mama Rose, but she basically was the quintessential stage mom that pushed her daughters, making money off her daughters.
Okay, yeah, they just kind of changed it around for the movie. I mean the series, but okay, same story. I got you.
Yeah, and so I played. It was kind of interesting that I have been a fan of that movie since I was a little girl. My mom grew up watching it with her sister. And I've watched it so many times. I actually named my cat Gypsy after her. And so when I found out that the play was going to be put on in our local community theater in Vero, I wanted to try out. And then the tryout days came and went, and I was my own worst enemy, and I didn't go.
Oh.
I just thought, I can't do it, and I've never had a stage role, let alone, the starring role. So I decided not to do it. And then a few days later, they put out a press release saying that all the roles had been cast except for Gypsy. And I get emotional kind of thinking about it now. I went and I said, wow, maybe I was meant to play the role. And so I went in and I sang a song and I got the role on the spot. And we began reading right then and there.
Wow. Just that.
Yeah.
Just that. Coming up, partial of a coming of age story is a story and a show within itself. Just hearing that, because
absolutely, it's a beautiful story, and I it was one of the best things I've ever done. That being on stage and having that family of the cast, and it was wonderful. And I actually ended up winning Best Female Vocalist and Best Supporting Actress.
Wow, congratulations to that.
Just for community theater, but it was still really awesome because I had never done anything, and playing that role really gave me a lot of confidence to pursue, other big things.
That stage is a magical thing.
I maybe could or couldn't do.
Yeah, that stage is a magical thing. That stage will give you some confidence in life and yourself that you didn't know you had before. It
Absolutely.
did that same thing for me and many others that I know, not just in music like rapping, but in dance also.
Oh, I love dance. Dance is really close to my heart as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that movement and expressing ourselves creatively is so good for um, body, mind,
Yep.
spirit. And, living in an age where we're on our phones so much, I think that it's really important that we make the effort to do other things that we've been doing for centuries that we almost no longer doing anymore, whether it be
Right.
gardening or
Using that physical rhythmic art can
yeah.
express yourself in ways that other mediums can't, and I think that's what's beautiful about it.
Absolutely. And then just eye contact, face to face, interactions with the community, the next generations that are being raised on these devices. It's very concerning because studies do show that, the more we spend time on social media, the less happier we are.
Right.
And although it's an excellent platform to connect, individuals like you and I and, promoting business and whatever else we're doing on there, sharing our dinner plates and our family photos. And I think we're a little bit in a dangerous spot with it because it's kind of taking over our lives. And, it's really important to make sure that we are still really living our lives
Exactly.
in the actual real world.
Yeah, don't forget to be present in the moment, and which is so easy to do when we have so much distractions just in the palm of our hands. We have to learn how to balance the two, because like social media and internet and phones and all that can be a gift and a curse at the same time. It could have great yin and yang effect to it. 100%, like a great 50-50, like 50% positive, 50% negative, depending on what you're using it for and how you're utilizing it. I've been fortunate enough to say, not to brag, but for most of the time that I've been on, ever since, I don't know how many years, 2002, 3, MySpace, Facebook, even back before Black Panda, Yahoo chat days, whatever.
Yeah, I remember that.
Even all the way back to like the late 90s, early 2000s, the inceptions of it, I've been fortunate enough to, for the most part, use it to my advantage or using it in a smart way where it hasn't been a detriment to me, hasn't messed up anything in my life or messed up money or relationships or anything. And I feel like over the years I got smarter and smarter with it to this day. And so like if you use things like that in moderation, or if depending on what you're using it for, if you're using it as a benefit to yourself, and if you're using it trying to help others with it, using it for the right reasons, it can be a great tool, very useful. But of course, as well as with anything else, if you're abusing it or not using it the right way, it can backfire and put you in a very bad place and be very
Absolutely.
anxiety inducing, And unfortunately, a lot of people who aren't educated or mindful enough in this, it can just take over your life. And very guiding.
Just like a lot of the greatest inventions, they can be
absolutely
detrimental or beneficial depending on how they're used.
Yeah, let's hope to guide our youth, and if they're going to be a part of this world, to navigate it the right way, whereas it won't be part of their downfall.
100%, and that's one of the things I really like to do as well as current events and being involved with the community. Like we just started. I'm part of a group called Durango Wild West Talent.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Started a tradition called Cowboy Tuesdays where there's open mic where they're encouraging young people to come out and do, whether it's singing, storytelling, poetry, any type of relevant stories that
sounds like so much fun.
Will enable people to have a voice and come out and express their creativity.
That's beautiful. We need more of that.
Yeah, we really do. That's actually going on today at the Diamond Bell at the historic Strader Hotel, which is one of the oldest hotels in Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you posted a couple of pictures of the one last week that you was at.
Yes, it was really nice, and I hope that the community will come out, and whether you want to, go on up or not, just to support those who are making the effort to get out there.
Yeah, man, community community events was so fun, man. Like I didn't really get into a whole lot of that until I moved out to Crested Butte, and I just jumped in both feet first and got really involved in a lot of that stuff. Like whether it be community radio, community dance shows, fundraisers, art shows out there. And I could go on forever about a lot of things that I did out there, but that could be a whole nother podcast within itself because I can talk for hours on that. But
totally.
Because but the main focus about this is you, Miss Dahlia. So I'm not going to get on my high horse and get on my soapbox and brag about me. I'm gonna want you to brag about you. But I seen pictures of one you told me about last week that you went to, and that like looks like so much fun. Like hopefully one of these weeks or before the season runs out, my wife and I can go to some of those because we love going to events. I'm dressing up.
All this month of April at the Diamond
Those are
Bell.
dope. Okay.
And then we also will have events at the train station. We have our beautiful train in Durango. That's one of the most recognized in the country as the most scenic routes that you can take.
Yep.
And the
Just
Durango
gorgeous, by the way.
narrow gauge railroad.
Yep, I encourage anybody who wants to visit Durango to take that train ride. It is amazing. You're riding on the cliff on the edge of the gorge, just like, ugh.
And so we'll be there actually early May, seeing off the train. We do reenactments. You'll see all types of beautiful ladies dressed up in the original also part. It's a beautiful thing to see. We're trying to keep the West alive, and the other group I'm part of is the Victorians.
Loving it.
And
love it.
It's really wonderful, and we encourage the community to come out, or if anyone who wants to be a part of it. We're all very, welcome to people who want to, join the groups.
That is fantastic. I'm a huge fan of that, and I noticed that every time I've traveled anywhere or seen places that I haven't been before, one of the things I look at, I won't say first, but one of the things that's been on the top of my list when I go places is, aside from the food, aside from the general tourist attractions, what are things that the locals really love? What can I find out from them that's like not a whole bunch of other people know about too? And that's always something that's fascinating me and interesting. And the history of Durango has a very, very rich history. Can you speak? What is Hay House Publishing Agency? What's that?
So Hay House is a publishing agency that I really am very inspired by, and they have a lot of great authors and events. And many years ago, I was still in my late teens, I went to a Hay House event in Tampa, and I actually met Louise Hay, who is the founder of Hay House. She's a legend in the self-help world. She wrote the very well-known book called You Can Heal Your Life, and she was just sitting a few rows ahead of me, and I got to meet Wayne Dyer, who I'm a huge fan of. I've been reading his books for many, many years.
Okay.
And Marianne Williamson, and it's a place where people go for inspiration and community, to be among others who are looking to, whether it be heal or grow or just be involved with something positive. And that was a big motivating factor, I think, in my mindset, because I began reading books like Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra at a very young age. I was probably, barely 15 years old. And that mindset in terms of like law of attraction, energy.
Yes, I'm all about that.
What we set our minds to. It's been intrinsic in, I believe, my success and ability to achieve, what I have so far.
I feel like I agree with that 100%. I feel like I'm 42 now, but ever since I stepped into my 30s, I've been looking into stuff like that a lot more, and practicing like meditation and doing daily affirmations along with more prayer. Match that up with equal amount of hard work and determination, and things can happen for you, and may not always be the timely manner that you want, but in time these things do happen, and have to mix in a little bit of patience with that recipe, and outcomes
Oh,
you
yes.
get beautiful
Patience
things.
is really important. And I think a lot of times we look at successful people and we think, oh, wow, that must be nice or that was easy. But you don't see the hard work
Yeah,
and
you see the end product, but you don't see the grind to
the
get there.
difficulty that it can be to be a self-starter and to motivate and to get up every day and continue. And,
For sure.
I think, this month is Earth Day, and going back to our origins, our three homes are really first, before a house is earth, body,
Staying grounded.
and mind. And I think it really starts there to recognize that these things are important, and we have to do the self-care and the self-work and self-reflection in order to, even get out of our own way.
Absolutely. There's one more thing I want to touch on before we move on and get out of here. I want to touch on that on top of like your real estate game interest, the performance, the little bit of singing in there, the dance, your film and digital media content creating. You've been getting your hands dirty in the kitchen too. I know you've been like talking about like spreading your wings in the catering industry, So
yeah, I've done a couple catering gigs, mostly for friends and word of mouth. But one of the things I'm really passionate about is food, and I believe that food is, it's the gas to our engine. In order for have our brains and bodies functioning, good quality food is critical for mental health and motivation.
Definitely.
And so that's something I'm very passionate about. My grandmother has passed down many family recipes that are not only healthy and delicious, but visually beautiful.
Wow.
I'm very motivated by beauty, and I just think that there's so much into presentation, whether I'm staging a home or I'm putting out a dish. I think that we are more compelled to be drawn and to desire something when we find it pleasing to the eye.
Absolutely, man. All that on top of the way we fuel our bodies is very important. That's should be taken more seriously than I feel like some do, and it's a great thing. I mean, that's a podcast idea that somebody brought to me a while back that I should do, like just do a culinary podcast, which
Totally.
I would love to do something down the pipeline, and I'm gonna try to lock this in first, get this dialed in well, sounding good and working well, and then maybe if I can figure out a way to work that into my rotation and get down the line, then yeah, maybe I'll do something like that too, with maybe just like a co-host or something. I don't know. The possibilities are endless, but
They are.
I was excited. My antenna went up when you said that you've done some catering. I'm like, wow, okay, I did not know that. That's not something I see on any of your socials. So that's one thing I'm glad this platform has been able to do, is allow people like you to get out there things that they're good at.
Thank
and
you.
being able to, like, if they don't have an
I'm
outlet to
always
express it, you can.
excited and happy to speak with people who are interested in, any of these topics, whether it be an actual podcast or just a personal conversation. I'm really motivated and, refuel my energy through others. Sometimes I do like to retreat and just kind of keep my energy to myself in order to renew and get back out there. But I find a lot of inspiration through people like yourself and just discussing important topics that we're passionate about and are worth bringing up.
Right. Well, this is fun, man. This definitely has been fun. I want to thank you a million times over for this. Is there anything you want to promote or any links you want to get out there? Last words before we cut. Anything new you're working on right now, or anything you want to draw attention to in the neighborhood, or?
Thank you for that opportunity. I think I really just I'm grateful to have connected with you and your audience, and we live in an amazing state, and if anyone is interested about Colorado or Durango in particular, we live in such a remote part of the country that a lot of people don't even know where we are.
Right.
And, between Kansas and right about California, less than 9% of Americans live in this part of the nation.
Wow.
So I love to, bring awareness to this gorgeous area, and whether you want to visit or you're thinking about moving out here, would always, welcome anyone reaching out that I could be of service to.
Sweet, man. Yeah, Durango is definitely a hidden gem. In Colorado, it may not be hidden so much anymore, but it's definitely a gem, which is growing. And your links to like your website or your socials or anything, it'll be down in the description. And
thank you.
If you have any,
so much. And,
if anybody listening to this
TikTok,
has any,
Dahlia in Durango.
Yep.
I'm on Instagram, Durango Lux RE, and of course you can find me anywhere else just under my name, Dahlia Davis.
Bam, wonderful. If anybody has any further questions that they didn't hear or they'd like to ask Dahlia or myself, more or less her, you can drop them in the comments or send it to her socials, like the links you just described. They will be in the comments. I want to thank you for your time and for this interview today. Thank you for reaching out. And this has been an amazing conversation, man. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. It really has. You are just such an awesome person, and what you're doing, I think, is so inspirational and valuable. And Durango is lucky to have you. And I look forward to seeing what else is in the works for you, Khari. And thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you so much. Likewise. This has been another episode of the Infinite Ambition podcast. We were speaking with the Dahlia Davis. I want to thank you for tuning in, and you continue to recognize your limitless worth. Stay motivated, stay peaceful, stay loved. Peace.
Chorus Mind Production.
Infinite Ambition.